My name is Amy Sacco, and I own and created probably some of the most exclusive nightclubs today in the world, and if not the most exclusive, the toughest doors you could ever try to get into. How many of you have ever tried to go to a nightclub and dealt with a door? It's not the most entertaining experience, is it? But most of you will know me actually most famously for my first club, which is called Bungalow 8. Bungalow 8 was actually built in West Chelsea, a very small and intimate lounge, as the opposite of my first club, Lot 61, which is a very large place. It's supposed to mirror the idea of a beautiful Hollywood hotel bungalow. And in the midst of designing all of this, we had no idea exactly what was to happen after, but we certainly created quite the scandal of the red carpet royalty. In essence, we started getting everyone from Leonardo DiCaprio to Britney Spears to George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Sean Penn, Michael Douglas, Cameron Diaz, and the list goes on and on and on. But the original concept itself came from one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to, or at the time had never been to. And that would have been the beautiful Beverly Hills Hotel, which is in Beverly Hills, of course, California. At the time I had not been there at that point, I certainly was looking forward to going at some time, but I was dreaming about what it might have been to have been there back in the day when it was brand Hollywood, old Hollywood, the glamour, in the 20s to the 40s. And in this time, they had these tiny bungalows that were ended up being built by actually Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks and Charlie Chaplin, who decided to take small plots of land around the Beverly Hills Hotel, throw a bunch of string on them, a few bricks on one, a few on the others, and put sold signs on most of them, although they'd not sold a thing. Ergo, then came the colonization of Beverly Hills itself. And you ask me how I get all these fabulous, amazing people that come to the door now, and all that red carpet royalty. Well, basing it on the Beverly Hills bungalows, there were the stories of all of the fabulous people that came there, like Howard Hughes, especially at Bungalow 8, who loved to have one of his starlets, or many of his starlets in the various bungalows, to keep them away from the studio heads and the prying eyes of the press. So that worked very well. Then you also had like the Michael Milkins of the world, who had their no wives allowed parties on the Thursday nights. And you can just imagine what those were like. So in essence of that, making that kind of balance in the world of having the fabulous and wanting to have those kind of people in my nightclub happened kind of as an accidental tourist. I can remember the first night that I opened my first nightclub, Lot 61 in West Chelsea. It was a torrential downpour. And you're talking about a place at the moment where there's not a soul that lived there or worked there. There was maybe 2 or 3 galleries. And frankly, out of the 500 people that showed up for me, probably because there was like, who is that crazy girl who's opening up in the middle of nowhere? We have to meet this crazy person. So on that specific night, about 100 of those people were people that I knew, and about 400 were the people that my publicist happened to invite. But as you can see, my publicist hates me. And this is the start of the best part of my career. My first clients that came to the door that were special was my friend Bruce Willis, who actually was not invited to the party, not because I don't love him, and I certainly was happy that he showed up. But in the meantime, he came because a friend told him that his pal was opening a place and he should stop by. And then he ends up bringing Denzel Washington, another power-packed superstar of the A-list movie star world. And the two of them stunned me so much because I wasn't expecting them that I refused to let anyone take a photograph of them at all. I felt that that was rude, as they'd done me such a solid favor of showing up in the first place and helping to put me on the map. So that wasn't quite what they were looking for in publicity, and it didn't really make them thrilled with me, and everyone warned me that this would not be good for me because it certainly wouldn't help to get the word out. But then it was better because it was more like word of mouth. And the word of mouth was far better than you could have ever imagined any press to have been. For myself, I think that over my career, press has been lovely to get and nice and great for my mom. My mom's real proud. She loves it. But nothing I ever look at myself in order to keep my mind clear and not be competitive with myself or with anyone else. But the word of mouth had a very big effect on what I do for a living. So after Bruce and Denzel left, they ended up going out and telling a few of their friends. And so you start to see people like Kevin Costner and some of his friends, and his friends told more friends. 3 months later, I'm doing a party for the beautiful and wonderful and extremely talented Giorgio Armani. And Armani himself brought 200 A-list celebrities through my front door. So from there, it was a piece of cake. Somewhat. I mean, when you see Sophia Loren sitting between Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese telling you how great your pasta tasted, you pretty much think you may have made it. But you should never get too happy or too sedentary. You have to keep going. So again, keeping up the energy and keeping up the vibe. Not too much longer after that, a young lady came to me who just finished wrapping her first show, and before the first night that it premiered, or the first night, it was called Sex and the City. Not a bad career she started with that fantastic show, all about everything that all of my clients dream of, sex and the city, in our city, with everyone in the city. So that wasn't bad either. To make this magic and to keep this magic going, there are some negatives as well. The biggest one is the door. Nobody wants to work at the door. I certainly didn't want to work at the door. It's the most miserable job you could ever have on the planet. But in order to make everyone that's coming to your nightclub happy, you have to think about the fact that why are they there? What do they want to see? Who do they want to meet? What kind of a time are they looking for? Are they dancing? Are they drinking? Are they trying to meet someone, future husband, future wife, a girlfriend, one night stand? Who knows? None of my business. But at the same time, it's my business to make all of that energy happen. So half the time, though, you have to say no. There's no vacancy in the house. It depends. It's not about who you are, who you think you are, or how much money you have, or anything like that. For me, it's all about your energy and your vibe. If you're not someone who's going to bring something to me, like ask not what your party can do for you, but what are you doing for my party? Because I certainly don't need a bunch of look-see-loos hanging out, watching everyone, and interrupting people's conversations, and kind of maddeningly trying to take photos. It's far more fun if you pick a fun person who has a little bit of energy and is going to give a little energy to your party. That being said, that's basically what I call brand integrity. The balance of having not too many guys, not too many girls, making it an interesting crowd, an interesting room, with a huge mix of cross-cultural and transgenerational people of all walks of life, which only makes it more fun for me, because I don't feel like being bored at work either. But with brand integrity, sometimes you have the good, and sometimes you have the bad. And as Aaron so nicely pointed out, his favorite story was someone who came to visit me, who is someone I fully respect, Mark Cuban. He's a brilliant businessman. I'm a big fan of his shows. I'm a big fan of his career as well. But when he rocked up to Bungalow 8, he happened to have all of about 10 to 15 guys off the golf course. Now mind you, Bungalow 8 has a room for about 100 people. And so there you are in a quandary. How do I tell a man that can buy and sell me about 1 million times over that I can't take care of him tonight? I mean, I know he's going to spend money, but that's not really my issue. I have two problems. I have disappointing Mark, and then I have disappointing my room and the clientele that I already have inside the club. So to make that magic energy again, like I said, you need the mix. So if 15 guys walk in the room with golf clothes, and most of the people, I can guarantee you, the hipsters and the cool people don't know who he is, even though I do, they're not going to care, and they're going to look around and say, this place is so going down.